Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, whichever time it is you decide to watch this. My name is Macca Jones. I'm the visual arts specialist for Socorro Independent School District Fine Arts Office. And what I'm about to do today is show you the ins and outs of our art show application. And if you have any questions, hopefully this video review tutorial session will answer them for you. All right, so in order to get to the art show application, you must log into mysisd.net and you will look under My Tools, and there you will find the art show application. Okay, so if you look right here, the 2021 student art show is populated and it is up for you all to start registering your students. But I'm going to go down here because what we're looking at right now is a tutorial, and for the purposes of this video, this is what I'll be using. But I want to let you know that every show is basically going to be listed in succession, so the most recent show will be always listed at the top. Okay, that will be the first one you see. So as I scroll down, you'll notice this is the tutorial, which is not available to you. This is just what I'm using for this video. But then the last contest that we had was the Black History Month art competition, and that was held in February. And then moving down, of course, we had our What's Poppin' art show, which was done basically in the fall/winter. All right, so I'm going to go back up here. And I want you to pay attention to this date right here. Okay, so looking at the dates, we have March 3rd, 2021 through March 12th, 2021. All right, so basically what that date is, the dates that you can actually submit artwork into the show. Okay, those dates are very important, of course, because if you try to submit artwork after these dates, you will not be eligible to do so. The show will be closed. Okay, every single show closes at 11:59 p.m. and I want to talk about that a little bit because this is very important. So I'm actually going to scroll back up to the district art show for a moment. All right, so this will answer any questions that you may have as far as the dates are concerned. So if you look at this right here, it says 2020 to 21 annual student art show. Deadline to enter is April 1st, 2021. Okay, all submissions will be due in the SISD art show application on April 1st, 2021. All right, so it does say that, but if you look down, you'll see the dates that we have listed under annual student art show. It says that it will be open 3/10/2021 to 4/2/2021. All right, so why does it say that? Why does it have April 1st as the deadline to enter your stuff, but then it says April 2nd, 2021? I'll tell you why. The show technically closes at 12 a.m. on 4/2/2021. That's the way this system is set up. Okay, so that means that the last day that you have to enter any work is indeed April 1st. 11:59 p.m. the show will be open on April 1st. But as soon as the clock strikes midnight, the show closes. Okay, and midnight technically would be 4/2/2021. So that's why it says that. That's just the way the system's set up, and that's the way it works. So please pay attention to the dates we have listed in the art show handbook for 2020-2021, and please pay attention to the date that is listed at the top here. Okay, so do not think on 4/2/2021 you will be able to submit artwork, because you can't. It will be closed. Okay, it will close technically, as I said, at 12 a.m. 4/02/2021, and the last day we have to enter is April 1st. All right, so I hope that's understood. And if you have any questions on that, you can always email me at mjones@sisd.net. That is mjones@sisd.net. Or you can also email Miss Candace Prince, who is our Assistant Fine Arts Director, and her email is cprint@sisd.net, and that would be cprint.sisd at SISD.net. All right. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's go ahead and dig into this. Again, we are using the test. And if you look at my screen has some buttons that yours will not have. Okay, so you can register, add new. Okay, that's a button that you have. You can view entries, but all these other buttons are for administrative purposes because I have an administrative privileges as far as this app is concerned. All right, so I'm going to click on this right now, and you're going to see type of entry. Okay, there are 3 types of entries you can do. You can create a group, and then you can enter as a representative, registering a student for another teacher for the art show, or you can actually register as a teacher registering a student for the art show. So let's clarify these. The group is for the group collaboration entries, and that I will go into a little later. But right now, let's focus on the I am a representative registering a student for another teacher for the art show. Okay, so elementary art reps. You are an elementary art representative. That means that you are a representative for your campus. You are designated to collect all of the artwork that will be submitted in any show that is offered throughout the entire school year. Okay, so that means the Black History Month art contest. That means the El Paso Community College art contest. That means the Print Those Pics contest. That would mean any of the state contests that are offered for you that are eligible for. That would be Google Pics, Peter Piper, any contest basically that is offered and your campus is eligible to participate in. It is your job to disseminate that information for the contest so everyone is aware of it. And not only that, your job is to actually collect the artwork and go ahead and enter it in said show for your campus. All right, that's what that's about. Now, there are elementary art teachers, which are known as our elementary art specialists, and their job is to teach art on your campuses. They are not at your campuses every day. They are basically traveling. They are itinerant teachers that travel from different campuses, and their job is not to take care of any contests on your campus. They can help you out. They can actually help you, but that is not their job. Their job is to teach art, and for the art representatives, their job is to collect the artwork and enter it in the show. All right, so for the points and purposes of this contest, I would like you to only use I am a representative registering a student for another teacher for the art show. And I am referring to my elementary art reps when I say that. Why? Because I don't want to have you get confused with the I am a teacher registering for art show. I understand that many of you elementary art reps are teachers, but what we want to do is just keep you all isolated in this group. Now, let's say you are actually the teacher of record that worked with those students directly. Okay, and let's say you have an art club, or in your class you just worked with some students and you did some art projects. That is fine, okay, but you'll still be using a representative, and I'll explain to you how you can do this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this right now, and let's go ahead and look at this. Okay, so real quick, everything that has an asterisk on it is mandatory. You must enter it. If you do not, then the system will not allow you to proceed. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in my district ID. And there it is. It auto-populates. Maca Jones, that is me. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in my cell phone number. Okay, so why do I put my cell phone number? And it says please at least put one phone number down. I would like you all to put your phone number that is the most accessible. So cell phone, if you want to get a hold of me, that is the phone that we'll use. Do not put the work phone number down. Why? Because we may need to get a hold of you after hours, and the work phone number basically is not available at that time. Chances are you will not be in your classroom or in your office, and we may need to get a hold of you pretty much right away. There may be something that came up regarding one of your submissions, and this is the phone number that we would need. All right, so I did go ahead and state that if you worked directly with students, you can still go ahead and submit your information under the representative area. How do you do that? You just go ahead and type it in again under teacher information. Because remember, as a representative, you are submitting work for another teacher. That's what you're doing. Now, this is very, very important that you have those teachers' ID numbers. If you are going to be submitting another teacher's student's work, you will need that teacher's ID. If not, then their information will not populate. Okay, so as a representative, it is your obligation to make sure that you have not only the other teachers' IDs, but also you have those parents' email addresses as well, because that is mandatory as well. If you look, you'll see parents' email. Okay, so you're going to need the teacher's ID, but in this case, the teacher is me. So I'm going to type that in, auto-populates. And then, of course, I need a student's ID as well to go ahead and enter. All right, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and enter a student's ID. But before I do, I'm going to make sure that I review everything, make sure all my stuff is good, of course, because it auto-populates, and we just want to make sure that we're good. Okay, all right. So moving on, I'm going to go ahead and type in the student's ID right here. Okay, so the student that I have listed is Julian Macias at Vista del Sol Elementary, 4th grade student. All right, now I want you to go ahead and pay attention to this area right here where it says group, select a group. So if you look at the groups, there is group 0 through 11. Okay, group 0 through 11. All right, if you look at the corresponding group with the grade level, you will see group 0 is pre-K through K. Okay, and then group 1 is 1st grade, group 2 is 2nd grade. I think you're noticing the trend. Okay, so 0, 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. This changes, of course, when you get to group 6, because group 6 is a combined competition between the 6th graders in 7th grade, and then group 7 is combined with 8th and 9th. Okay, so that means 6th and 7th graders will be competing against each other, and the 8th and 9th graders will be competing against each other. All right, group 3, high school art 1. Now, the high school art 1 division, just so you guys are clear, is designated for sophomores through 12th graders, okay, that have not taken art before. Okay, sophomores through 12th graders that have not taken art before. Why is that? Because the 8th and 9th graders are competing against each other. So make sure your 9th graders are in group 7. But if you have a 10th grader, 11th grader, or a 12th grader that has not taken art before, and of course that does not include middle school. Middle school basically does not count for these purposes. So if you have a sophomore that, or a junior or a senior that took art in 8th grade, that's not what this refers to. We're talking about if they took art in high school. So if they haven't taken art in high school before, you will put them in high school art 1. Now, when you look at group 9, high school advanced, that would be a sophomore through senior that has taken art before and now are in a drawing class, sculpture class, painting class, or maybe an AP class, any kind of advanced art class. They would indeed be in that group. They would be in the high school advanced. Now, looking at the open entries designated for our SPED students. And those are the individuals that will go in there. Either they're designated SPED in some degree, or they're self-contained classroom, whatever may have you. But that's what the Group 10 open category is for. And then going into our Group 11, that is the collaborative group project. And as I said, I will go into that a little later. All right, but for now, this student happens to be a 4th grader, so I'm going to go ahead and enter them in Group 4. And then I'm going to select a category, and we're going to put them in computer generated image, and then scroll down. Now at this point you should have this image located somewhere, either on a thumb drive or on your hard drive, and be able to grab it when you browse the image. Okay, So make sure you take good quality pictures. We want to make sure that we don't have anything that is in the picture that is unnecessary. Like if you're taking a picture of a painting or a picture, you should not take a picture of the table, okay, that it is resting on, or if there happens to be a soda can right next to the painting, or some pencils, or just some other unwanted objects, because that will be included when it's judged, and it actually becomes a little bit confusing because we don't know what we're looking at. We don't know if we're actually supposed to be looking at the picture itself, or is everything that you just included around it part of this art project, this presentation. So make sure you take really good quality pictures, great angles. Make sure there isn't a glare. Make sure it is clear as possible, because the only information that the judges are going to get is what you give them. So you have to keep that in mind. So this happens to be a computer generated image we're going to look for. And there we go. We got it. All right. Title of the artwork, I'm just going to call it blah just for this. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep in mind, I'm putting blob right now just because this is a tutorial, but best practices, teach your kids, okay, teach your students to title their artwork, okay, personalize it, make it their own. Untitled or no title is unacceptable. That's a bad practice. We go on to major contests, which we like to consider this a major contest, but when we look statewide contests, national contests, basically if a student or the artist basically does not personalize their work, judges kind of they tend to frown upon that. You should personalize it, and it should have some basically distinct connection to the image that is being displayed. So I'm going to say the meaning, and I'm just going to go ahead and write more blah blah. Now, what the meaning basically is just a brief synopsis or description of what they're looking at. So if it happens to be a picture of a little girl holding a flower, just say, this was my little sister or cousin holding a flower one afternoon, and that's basically what it is. It's just pretty much describing what they're seeing. You don't have to write too much. We're not looking for a whole paragraph or a book, just a few sentences, just basically explaining. Now, if you have a pre-K or a kindergartner or a first grader, you can kind of guide them along and help them with this. Maybe you want to explain it to the teacher of record so they actually understand. You just can't put nothing. Okay, there should be something in there. All right, so I'm going to scroll down now, and I look at this. Now, if you look, I can't submit. Why is that? I'll tell you why. There's something, as I said, you need to make sure you have, and that is also a parent's email. Okay, parents' emails are very important. Why? Because without it, you will not have a permission slip signed. This system is awesome because it actually auto generates any type of parent permission slip in most of the documents, and it will send it directly to that parent. But we need a working email. We need an email that the parent actually uses, that they actually do look at and they actually use on a consistent basis. Okay, so I'm going to put in personal email there just for and purposes, because I want you to see exactly what the parent's going to see. Now, bad practice. Do not, I repeat, do not put your work email in there for the parent's email. Why? Because you are not that student's parent, unless you are. If you are that student's parent, then by all means, go ahead and use that. But we prefer that you not use that, because we've had some teachers in the past use their own personal email for the parent's email, just under the assumption that they can go ahead and print it out and have the parent sign in and go. No, we don't want to do that. We want to keep everything digital, and just make sure you get a hold of that student's teacher, or you find out maybe from Tyler. You could use Tyler Classic. Go to your front office. Just you got to get that information. Ask the student even, can I get your parent's email address, or can your parent call me, or call the parent? Just you get this. I will explain to you why. In the past, at some of the contests we have had an abundance of students. And when I say an abundance, I'm saying like 50 or more that have not been able to officially be entered into a competition because basically there wasn't a parent email that was active on file, and the parent just did not sign the permission slip. Why? Because they didn't get it. They didn't get it. So the only person that we can look at basically is, the teacher of record or the representative that entered. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, that when you enter these pieces, which you're about to see, it does not automatically get accepted into the show. Okay, you submit it and it will be received. As you can see right now, you submitted and it was received. So we're going to stop here. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to view the entries. And if you look, lo and behold, you see our piece called blah. And it says entry pending approval. So this is what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm going to click on this and I'm going to go ahead into the details and look at it. So it says at the top that there was a permission slip sent at 8:21 a.m. And also it has the representative's name, which is myself right now. It has a representative's phone number, which is up there. It has a representative's email, okay? And then, of course, then you look, you start seeing the teacher's information. Now, again, I typed in my own ID once again because this is under the assumption that I am the teacher of record working with the student in addition to being the rep. But if you are not the teacher of record working with those students, then of course you need to type in that teacher's ID so their name will be populated and that teacher will be given credit for working with this student on this project. And hence, at the elementary level, most of the projects you'll probably be entering are those of the art teachers that are working on your campus with those students, and pretty much their IDs would have to be typed in there if that was them. Okay, student ID is there and the student's name. Of course, we go ahead and move down again. We see that they're a fourth grader. And then you see the parents' email that's there, their group, generate image, of course, it's called blah. And then there's the image itself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to approve this. Look what happens. It says this entry is missing a signed permission slip. So that means the parent has not signed this yet. Okay, until a parent signs this permission slip, okay, assuming that they've received it, I cannot approve it. Okay, so that's what we're saying. Just because you went ahead and you followed through and you submitted, no, there's more follow through that needs to be done, and I'm about to show you. So going into the email, if you look right here, I have some emails listed, but there's nothing that says anything about an entry, student entry, anything. So that's under focused. If you go under other, you'll see right here where it says test SISD showcase notification. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on that. And look what it says. Your student, Julia Macias, has successfully registered for the test/SISD art showcase. Okay, and also it says something else which is very, very important. Please do not respond directly to this email. The originating email account is not monitored. Okay, what does that mean? That no one in particular sent you this email. It was the system that sent you this email. If you respond or you try to reply to this, it's going to go nowhere. Okay, if you have a question, if there's something you need to ask us, once again, I will give my email again. It is mjones@sisd.net or just mjones, whichever way you want to look at it. Or you can also contact Ms. Candace Prince, and her email is cprint@sisd.net. All right, so look at that. Emails are popping up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of this, and now let's say I'm a parent now, and I'm at work, I'm at home, and an email pops up on my desk here. And I go ahead and I look at it, and lo and behold, art show notification. So I click on that. And then if you look at it, it says, Julia Macias has registered to participate in the test SISD showcase. Please click on the link below in order to fill out a permission slip. If the link is not clickable, please copy and paste it in the user URL. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll on this and then right click it. And right click it, and then it says go to. I'll do that, and there it is. This is the permission slip. Has all the information listed, and also it has a rights release, basically the Personal Information Act, all the stuff that we need for the legalese for our district in order to basically showcase anyone's name and maybe even their likeness as a result of this contest. All right, so if you look right here, we have the student's name. It's Julian Macias. So understand this. I know that, and you know that there are some parents that do not refer to their children as the name listed in basically district documentation. So just because this child's name is Julian, the parent may refer to them as George because that may be their middle name, okay, or Jorge. All right, so if I go ahead and I'm a parent and I'm like, oh, Jorge entered a contest, and then they go ahead and they type in Jorge Macias, and then they go ahead and they type in their name, and then they go to submit. This thing is obviously broken because I can't submit it. Okay, why isn't it able to be submitted? I will tell you why. Because George Macias did not enter the contest. Julian did. If you look, it says the artist's signature must match exactly as on top of this form. So please tell your parents that if they don't read that, pay attention to it, that it must be exactly so. The best thing to do is just copy the name exactly as it is and just go ahead and paste it right there. If you look, now the button is clickable. I click it. It says, thank you for signing the entry form. Awesome. So we go back to the art show, and then I am going to refresh. And then look, all of a sudden something has changed. You see this little green icon? That means that the permission slip has been signed. That's what we see, and we know it's been signed. Okay, we've already reviewed everything, and these are the things we're going to look at. One, this says it's a computer-generated image. So the details, I go ahead and look at, is it in the correct category? Computer-generated image? Okay, computer-generated image. All right, we see that. And of course, 4th grade student, making sure they are in correct group 4. Good. Okay, so all I have to do now is approve it. It has been approved. All right, and then update. Awesome. Close. All right, now what has happened? It has been approved. Okay. All right, that's very important. So I'm going to tell you what happens if you guys do this correctly. Okay, if you do this correctly, okay, you will have the correct information. So if you look right here, now you get another email. It says your entry blah for test SISD showcase has been approved. Until you get that email, the piece has not been successfully registered for the show. So you got an original email as a teacher that said what? It says it had been successfully registered for the showcase, but then this one right here that you got says that it's been approved. Okay? Once you get the approval, it's all the way through, it's locked in. It's good. Okay, it's good. Now, let's say you wanted to check your entries, or you noticed that the orientation of the entry was a little funny. So what do I mean by that? So let's go ahead and click on this. Okay, so you look at this and you're like, wait a minute, that's not right. It should be in a different position. Okay, in the past, in our other contests, we noticed that some pieces were being submitted and the orientation of the artwork was right side up. I mean, not right side up, was upside down or sideways, whichever may have you. You actually have the ability to rotate the piece as so you please in order for it to be in the satisfactory position. Okay, you have that option. The other thing that you can do is you can actually view your entries. Okay, so if you look here and up at the top, you should have a ability to go ahead and you can check your stuff. I'm in administrative properties, but you can actually view your entries now to see exactly what you wanted to, basically what images that you had in the show. You can view them. So if you have any questions on that, please just feel free to contact me. But you should be able to view your stuff. So now, before in the past you weren't able to, now you can. Okay, now you can. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and enter another one. So I'm going to go get out of this and I'm going to register another piece. All right. So let's do this again. And this time I'm going to do it as a teacher registering for the Student Art Show. And I'm referring now as teachers as my middle school and high school teachers. But I do want to say something though. I did tell the elementaries that I wanted them only to focus on registering as a representative. Okay. I said that's all designated for the elementary art reps. You must always be as a representative because you are representing your campus and you need to stay in that designation. So art teachers, will there ever be a time where you may need to use this one? Yes, that could happen. We have situations in the past where there have been teachers that have worked on art-related projects in their classes, whether they be theater arts or math, English. They could be a band instructor, whatever may have you, and they may do a project and they say, you know what? I think this could be entered in the district art show. That teacher approaches you and they ask, hey, whoever the high school or middle school art teachers are, say, would you be able to enter this in the art show? And then you could say, why, yes, I can. And at that moment, when you decide to enter the work for them, you have become a representative for those particular pieces or that particular piece. Okay? And you will be able to enter that for them under representative. Okay, and that would be the only time middle school, high school art teachers that you would use that. That would be the only time. Generally speaking, you should always be in this area unless you are approached in that fashion. True story, this did happen last year. We've had a theater teacher that approached the middle school teacher. They had some costumes that they wanted to enter, and that teacher did that for them. The only thing is that we did not have this capability, and the teacher that worked on the stuff did not receive the credit that they deserve, that they should have received. And we want to make sure that everyone gets their just credit for working with their students. So our teachers, middle school, high school, if you have anyone approach you like that, yes, now you can use the representative button and you can register them under you and just fill out the information just as we've explained. Okay, so now I am a teacher registering a student for the art show. This is for my middle school and high school teachers. I'm going to go ahead and put in my ID again. All right, populates just the way it should. Go ahead and type in my phone number. Again, we are using cell. All right, and then we just need to type in student's ID. Let's go ahead and do a middle school student in this case. All right, and of course I need a parent's email. I'm going to use the same one I had. Okay, the student is Aiden Espinoza, goes to Jane Hambrick, 7th grade student, and we're going to go ahead and get a group category. So we're looking at this, 7th grade, that would be group 6. Okay, that's where the 7th and 6th graders go. And then the category, let's say it is a drawing. Okay, and then going in, let's browse image, and let's find a drawing. All right. So we just put a drawing in there. And then title of art, that would be colorful. All right. Oops. You know what? I don't know why, but this is set on English settings because we don't spell color like that. But in, I guess Great Britain they do. Anyways, and I will just say drawing, yeah, with a lot of color. Okay, that's the description. Yes, you all know I am spelling color correctly. Okay, so moving on, looking at everything, just making sure it checks out. Okay, got all that. Good, we're good. Okay, let's submit. And no. All right. Now this is what I would see as administrator. All right, colorful's there. Entries pending approval. I'm going to go ahead and check. Looking at everything, seems like it all checks out. All right, good, good. Okay, we're good. 6th and 7th. All right, cool. Only thing that's missing is the parent's permission slip. Okay, that's the only thing that's missing. All right, so check this out. Something's happened. It's been a while now, and the parent permission slip has just not been signed. So you haven't received the email for approval, and the parent, they basically maybe did not see the email, or it didn't go to an email that they used. So I can't approve this, but what I am going to do is I'm going to unapprove it. And I'm going to select the reason, and I'm going to say other, and this is what I'm going to say. Okay. Missing parent permission slip. Okay, so that's what I'm going to say. All right, and I'm going to show this to you simply by sending that. Now, what happened? I'm going to tell you what happened. I'm going to go ahead and check this. So first off, you did enter it. You entered it a while ago, and it says successfully registered for the art showcase. But then here it is, I would say 2 weeks later, and you get this other email, and this is what it says. You must update your entry colorful. Reason, missing parent permission slip. Okay? Missing parent permission slip. All right. So this is really important. Why? One, because that means that you need to resend it. Or you need to reach out to that parent and find some way and say, okay, let's see if that was a working email, what was going on. You're going to have to follow through. So this is what's going to happen on the parent's end. Okay, so they already received it, okay, but they just didn't see it. Something happens, okay, they didn't see it. But check this out. This was the original one that was sent. So right now, if I wanted to, I didn't resend it. I didn't resend the permission slip yet. But if I didn't resend it, I would be able to use this link. But I'm going to show you what's going to happen. Watch very carefully. Okay, so now I go back in and I'm like, oh man, I got to resend this. So you get now the correct email and you go in, or you find out it was the correct email. The parent just hadn't checked the email. And you go ahead and you go to details. And then there's a button that says resend permission slip. Are you sure you want to? Yes, resend. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. As a parent, they're going to receive another email. Okay, and there it is. Okay, so let's say the parent does get in their email and they're like, oh, they see this. And then this was the original one. This was the original one that was sent. Notice the time. They right click it, they do everything, they go to it. Look what happens. It says this link is no longer valid. Why? Because you actually resent this, and now the old link is no longer good. So what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to go to the new link that was sent. So this one was sent at 8:36 a.m. This one was sent at 8:40. This is the new one. And there it is. Okay. All right. Parent goes ahead, goes through it. That's my child. Again, you're going to make sure that they copy or go ahead and put in the name exactly as it is. Especially just copy it. Go ahead and paste. And then they can type their signature in. And then submit. All right. So let's go back to the art shop. Okay, it still says entry needs revision, but look, the icon's there. We can go ahead and see that clearly the permission slip was signed, and then now we can approve it. Case in point, remember, when you get those emails from us, basically they're not sent technically from us. If it says my SISD application or application, those are sent from basically the server in a sense. They're sent from the system. But if it does have indeed my email or Ms. Prince's email, you can respond to us directly. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of this. And you look at that, you can see these are all good. Okay. All right. So I have gone over now how to submit as a representative. I have gone over basically the mishaps of what could happen if we send you send something in and it's going to be unapproved, what that looks like, and so on and so forth. So our unapproval status, pretty much if it's inappropriate content, if it's copyright infringement, those are the two of the biggest ones. And the other one, of course, would be if the parent didn't sign the permission slip, then we will let you know. We'll type that in and we'll tell you, okay, exactly what it is. If it's a copyright infringement thing or content, we will contact you, and you do have the liberty to go ahead and replace that piece. If that student has another piece that they want to enter in its place, you can, and all you have to do is just change the information. But let's say that was the only piece that that student had, and basically you're going to have to take them out of the show, and you can put someone else in their place. And we will let you know, we'll notify you of that later on if that does come up, if that arises at all. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some more entries. We have to show you all how to do the group competition pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of this and go home. And I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to register, add new. We're going to go into the group area. Okay, guys, please pay attention. This is very, very important. Okay, so group name, what am I going to call this? Well, I haven't done anything for the high school yet, so I'm just going to call this Mr. Jones Funny Class Project with color. Okay, that's color spelled correctly again. We don't spell it with a U. All right, and then category. Okay, let's say it is mixed media. All right, and then remember, if you are entering for someone else, you put in their ID. If you are entering for yourself, then you put in your ID. But this is the group administrator ID. I'm going to go ahead and put my ID. And then the cell phone number. And then group ID. This is the group teacher ID. I'm putting that in again. Remember, guys, if it's someone else, make sure you put there. You want to give credit where credit's due. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and browse the images. And I said it's going to be a mixed media project. So let's go ahead and look at this. And all right, basically, do I have any mixed media in here? I don't even know, to be honest with you. Well, for the points of this, let's just use this picture. Why? Because I just think it's cute. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if you get this image at all, simply what that means is you need to resize your piece. Okay, that means the piece was a little bit too small. We actually had corrected this, but if that does pop up, just notify us, and we should be able to fix it for you in the system. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get something else here. All right, let's go with old Frankenstein. He's good. Okay, so title of art. Let's say let's call it Frankenstein's monster. And group project using color and fun. All right, that's what we'll call it. All right, so let's go ahead and look through here, and we have everything that we need to do. Have you noticed something? I did not enter any students. All I did was create the group. Okay, that's all I did was create the group. All right, group has been created. What we're going to do now is we're going to get out of this. And now we're going to go ahead and add some students. So this is what you do. The group has been created. Remember your group name. And even if you don't, you'll see what happens. Oops, we're not going to create a group. My mistakes. I am a teacher entering, and I'm going to go ahead and type in my name. Oops, that's not me. Guys, keep in mind, that's why it auto-populates. All right, and then we're going to all right, so student ID, we're going to go ahead and enter high school student. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, in order for something to constitute a group project, it must have at least 2 students in it. So we have Mr. Aaron Ramirez. He is in there. Now, I want you guys to notice something. The IDs that I'm using, they're dummy IDs that were supplied by our IT department, and they are from various campuses. And basically, you are not supposed to have group projects that are cross-campus, or so just make sure that if you're trying to do something like that, you see that this is just for tutorial purposes. It's not meant to confuse you. It's just we're just using dummy IDs. All right. So if you look, we have all of these things listed, but the one that we need right now happens to be the collaborative group project. All right, so that's what we're entering. This child is going to be entered into a group, and we already created the group, and there it is, Mr. Jones Funny Class Project with Color. Guys, when you're creating the names for your groups, try to be as specific as possible. I'll tell you why. Because if you just put, let's say, for example, you put Miss Castañeda's class. If you put Miss Castañeda's class, you may run into a problem. Why? Because we have more than one Castañeda in the district that teach art. Okay, they both teach art at the high school level. And if you just put that, then you may run into some issues. So try to go ahead and be as you know, precise, as creative as you possibly can with your names, and make sure you remember them. And as I said, I called mine Mr. Jones Funny Class Project with Color for that reason. All right, moving on. I'm just going to check everything. I did put the parents' email in correctly. I did everything, checking it, and I submit. And then I'm going to say, yes, I want to submit another. All right. And then let's go ahead and do another high school student. All right, we have Dominic Bowman. Parents' email is going to be the same. And then group in the same exact group. And then submit. And then I'm done now. Okay, so let's go ahead and scroll down. And we're going to view entries. All right, there it is. Frankenstein's Monsters in there. Let's go ahead and click on it. All right, so how do we know this is a group? Why? Because it'll have this funny looking icon here. So if you look, it kind of looks like a, I don't know, a flower, but really it's a person and two people behind them. Okay. All right, let's look at the details. Okay, so the group, all the information is there. The rep's name, okay, the teacher name, everything's there. Okay. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at something here. See where it says view students? If I did not put any students in there and I viewed students, it would actually tell me that there are no students in the group. Okay. Just keep in mind of that. All right. So here's where it gets really tricky. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on Aaron. Okay. So I got to check Aaron's information. It's fine. So if you notice, you look at this right here. There's an area where it says you can remove the student from group. Why would you have to remove a student from group? Let's say that student, you were working on the project and it was pending at the time, and they were finishing up, and then let's say the student dropped out and just stopped working on it. You can remove the student from the group. Let's say the student was not able to get their permission slip signed. If they weren't able to get their permission slip signed, and it's going to penalize everybody else in the group, you can go ahead and either you can remove that student from the group, and you have to let them know that's what's going to happen, or you may have to get rid of the group entirely. But so you won't have to penalize all the kids, you can just remove that one student if you need to. I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so I'm going to get out of this, and again, as the parent, I'm going to check my email, and then I see that I have my notification. Yes, I'm the parent for both these students. All right, so I go ahead and I make that. Okay, so Aaron Ramirez, Frankenstein's Monster. I'm going to go ahead and scroll. And submit. All right. And then the next one, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. All right, Frankenstein's Monster. Again, oops. It's for Dominic. Remember, it has to be exact. And then submit. Okay. So now all I have to do is go back in, and if I refresh, look what happens. I have the icon. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back, look at view students, and then there we go. They both have their permission slips. Now keep in mind, if one of these students did not have a permission slip in, this icon would not show up for the picture overall. Now, when I go into the group, yes, it shows they have that. But if one of them was missing this, it still could not be approved. Okay? Every single student has to have their permission slip signed in the group area. Okay? If it isn't, then it won't be accepted. Okay? That's very important. That is very important to know. And let's say you had one that was pending. Let's say like you had 4 people in a group or 5 people in a group. You can have up to 6. But if you had all those students in that group, and let's say there's one student that just didn't, you go ahead and you talk to that student and you're like, you know what, it's just not going to happen. My mom is not going to allow me to do it, so on and so forth. Then all you have to do is remove that student, and then automatically the green icon will appear and it will be eligible, because that means that all the students have the permission slip signed. But all it takes is one to throw the entire thing off. Just remember that. All right, so moving on from that, I'm going to go ahead and close. Okay, so I've pretty much gone over the majority of things that you would need to worry about, or issues that we may have. Just remember that you need your parent email, and make sure it's a working email that the parent does check. Make sure you have the IDs of the students that are going to be entered, and make sure you have the IDs of your teachers. I'm talking to the elementary reps that you're going to be entering the work for. That's very important, well, because we want to give credit where credit's due. If you wanted to change the orientation of the piece, let's say that it came out sideways, and it just, something was wrong with it, then all you have to do is just rotate, and you can get it to where it should be. Okay, so that shouldn't be an issue. If you try to submit a piece and it gives you that error, it says that it needs to be at least 500 megapixels to 300, then let us know and send us the piece if you cannot fix it, and we will fix it for you. Okay, if that happens. Technology has assured us that they should be able to fix that. It's something in the system. Some of the pieces may be too small, and we just made it, just enlarge them just a little bit in the system. They can fix it, or it can be done internally. We will fix that. But there should be everything all taken care of and all covered. And again, if you have any further questions or anything you want to ask, please feel free to email me at mjones@sisd.net, or you can email Miss Candace Prince, who was our fine arts director, assistant fine arts director, and she is at cprint, CPRINT @sisd.net. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your time, and that's all I have.